welcome back to the last part of the review. We're going to look at these last two guided reviews. The first one I have, it says solve for x. I can see I have an isosceles triangle. So with my isosceles triangle, I know it's isosceles because I have these two tick marks, which means this is a leg, and this is a leg, which means this is a base. And this was the last lesson we did for this unit, right? And if this is the base, that means these two base angles are congruent, which means they're equal to each other. So this 4x plus 10 is equal to this 3x plus 20. Okay? All right, so the first thing I want to do is get all my x's on the same side. I'm going to subtract 3x here and here. So 4x minus 3x is just 1x plus 10 equals 0 plus 20 is 20. Subtract 10 on both sides. And x plus 0 is just x. 20 minus 10 is 10. If I plug that in here, 4 times 10 is 40 plus 10. This angle is 50 degrees. If I plug it in here, 3 times 10 plus 20 is 30 plus 20. So that angle is also 50 degrees. Okay, but this was just asking me to solve for x, so I was done here. It's nice to plug it in though and just make sure that your two angles really do both equal the same so you can feel confident you have the right answer. Okay, all right, go ahead and pause the video and work on number 22 and 23 of your review. And then when you're ready to resume, we'll do the final guided review. All right, for our last guided review, this is kind of an interesting take on these type of problems. Let's look at these carefully. The vertices of triangle EFG are given by E is at 1, 6, F is at 5, 3, and G is at 0, negative 1. Classify the triangle by its sides, okay? When we classify a triangle by its sides, we have three options. We have all my sides are different and we're scaling. We have two sides are the same and we're isosceles. We have all three sides are the same, meaning we are equilateral. So those are my only options. If this is a multiple choice question, and almost all of our multiple choices have 4 options, that means the 4th option is going to be either right, acute, obtuse, equiangular. You can immediately cross those out. It's got to be one of these 3. If right is an option, don't choose it because we're classifying by its sides. Okay, so make sure you're classifying correctly. I'm going to go ahead and graph this triangle in pencil so that we can figure out where our different sides are. So E is at 1, 6, 1, 6. This is E. F is at 5, 3. 5, 1, 2, 3 is F. G has an x value of 0 and a y value of negative 1. So here is G. So this is what my triangle looks like. Okay. All right, and we can use the distance formula to find out how far it is from E to F, and then how far it is from F to G, and how far it is from G to E. Your distance formula will be available for you on the test. If you click over on the right-hand side in the test, you click the word exhibit, you'll get access to a formula chart. Okay? But instead of doing that, what I sometimes like to do is instead I will look at the Pythagorean theorem, and I'll take each segment individually and then kind of thinking like slope, I'll identify a right triangle. So if I think of like trying to figure out what's my rise and my run going outside of my main triangle, I have to rise up 1, 2, 3, and then I have to run 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, well look what I just ended up making right here. I made a right triangle, right? There's a little right triangle right here in orange. So for that right triangle, one leg is 3, one leg is 4. I can find the hypotenuse by doing a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I'm going to do 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. Okay, let me zoom in so it's a little bit closer for us. Okay. All right, so 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 4 times 4 is 16, equals c squared. 9 plus 16 is 25, equals c squared. Again, I don't want c squared, I want just c. The opposite of squaring is square rooting. So I square root both sides and I get 5 equals c. So the length right here is 5 units. Okay. So then when I look at the next side, I'm going to do the same thing to find FG. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4 squared is 16, plus 5 squared is 25. Okay, and then 16 plus 25 is going to be 11, 41 equals c squared. And again, I don't want c, I just want c, or I don't want c squared, I just want c. So I'm going to square root both sides. And the square root of 41, let me grab a calculator. Maybe. Okay, there we go. 41 square root is 6.403. And it keeps going, that's just rounded, is my C. 6.403 is how long that side is. Okay? All right, so then let's find our third side. Because, you know, we can for sure rule out scaling. Okay, I mean, we can for equilateral because these two are different. So it's definitely not equilateral. But let's see if this third side, if this third side is 6.403, if it's really the square root of 41, or if it's 20, or if it's 5, then we know we're going to have an isosceles triangle. So let's see what this last one is. Okay, so for G to E, from G to E, I have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus 1 squared. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. 7 times 7 is 49, plus 1 times 1 equals C squared. 49 plus 1 is 50 equals C squared. Okay, so I can already tell because it's not 41 equals C squared or 25 equals C squared. It's definitely going to be different. But if I want to know what it really is, on my calculator, I'm going to do the square root of 50, and I get 7.071. 7.071. Okay, so when I want to know what this triangle is, when I'm classifying it by its sides, all my sides are different. So this triangle is isosceles. Or sorry, I lied. They're all different. It is scaling. Scaling. All my sides are different. That triangle is scaling. Okay? All right, so let's look at the next one and see what we get on this next one. All right, so again, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to graph those 3 points that they've given me. The first point is at -4, -3. That's B. 0, 0 is A. And 3, negative 4 is C, or Z. Okay, so let's see. Let's say I want to find BA first. Okay, for BA, I'm going to have to go up. Make sure I have enough room to write. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to give me a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. So 25 equals c squared. And again, we don't want c squared, we want c, so we're going to square root. And we already did this, right? On the last problem, we ended up, when I have 3 and 4, I'm always going to end up with 5 for my third side. So this has a length of 5 units. Okay? Let's look at the next side. So let's do A to Z. So let's see, if I go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 3 squared, plus I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, that's going to equal c squared. Well, I can already tell these are going to be equal, right? Because it's 3 and 4 again. So I know I'm going to get 9 and 16 again, which means I'm going to get 25 again, which means when I square root, I'm going to get 5 again. And 5 equals c. So this also is 5. So this time I can rule out scalene because this triangle is at least isosceles. If my third side turns out to also be 5, then this triangle is equilateral. Let's see how long my third side is. So here's my third side from B to Z. Pretend I can draw a straight line, okay? All right, so from B to Z, I'm going to go down 1, so 1 squared, plus I'm going to go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 equals c squared. So 1 times 1 is 1. 7 times 7 is 49 equals c squared. 50 equals c squared. So it's not the same, right? It's different. Now it looks like you might think, oh, it's twice as long, right? Because the square root of 25 and the square root of 50, you might go, oh, this is going to be twice as long. So my answer should be 10, but we know the square root of 50 isn't 10 because the square root of 100 is 10. So don't kind of like do that logic. I know it seems like that should make sense, that this should be twice as long. But really, we already did the square root of 50. The square root of 50 is 7.071. So this triangle has 2 congruent sides and 1/3 side that's not the same. So this triangle, we're going to call it isosceles. Again, that's my cat saying hello, running up and down the stairs if you heard that commotion. All right. Okay, so now go ahead and pause the video and you can work on your last 2 independent practice problems. Again, if you have any questions on any of these, please do attend tutoring before you take your test, or use your sync time with your teacher appropriately and wisely and ask questions during that time. That's what that sync time is for. We'll answer any of these questions on any of these independent practices. Okay, thank you so much for watching these reviews.